On today's show, Lucy Van Pelt of world-famous newspaper comic Peanuts, plus a bone-tingling tale from Bolivia. This is Vulo Lives.
Knocks upon your door. Will you open? Will you see the cat girl's face looking back at thee?
Hello, I'm Vulo the Face Borrower, here with world-famous newspaper comic star Lucy Van Pelt from Peanuts. Welcome to the show, Lucy.
Hey, glad to be here.
Tell me, Lucy, Peanuts ended in the year 2000 after an unbelievable 50-year run. What have you been up to since then? How have things been going?
A lot's been going on, a whole lot, big stuff. For instance, I'm a football now.
I wasn't gonna mention it, but yeah, you do seem to be a big football.
I'm a huge American football.
So, how'd that happen?
You seen the movie Human Centipede?
I have not, although I'm familiar with the basics.
Well, I got Human Centipede and only football. Human footballed.
That's terrible. I'm so sorry.
Oh, no, I had this done intentionally.
Oh, you sought this out.
The movie comparison was confusing. I should have said Cinderella. I got Cinderella transformed into a big football via a highly experimental medical process.
I think that comparison is also a little confusing, but I'm glad you're happy with it.
Happy is right, I'm thrilled. I don't gotta eat, I don't gotta do bathroom stuff.
The footballing process means you don't need to eat or do bathroom stuff?
You ever see a football do bathroom stuff?
You got me there. I can't say I have. The One True Moon wants to know, how do you get your nutrients if not through eating?
That's kind of a personal question. How does the moon get their nutrients?
You know what? That's a great point. How do you get your nutrients, Moon? Oh. Apparently, the One True Moon just eats.
What do they eat?
Skin, according to them.
What kind of skin we talking about here?
Honestly, I don't want to ask. I'd rather not know.
I want to know.
How's Charlie Brown doing? See much of him anymore?
Killed by a skeleton.
Good grief, you're right. I even had that skeleton on my live show. Well, I'm very sorry for your loss.
The whole Peanuts crew was shocked.
I bet they were. It was a shocking situation.
They were even more shocked when my medical team brought him back to life.
You brought Charlie Brown back from the dead?
My team can do miracles. He's better than ever, although he's still getting used to the changes.
What kind of changes?
He's a big foot now. A huge human foot.
Charlie Brown is a big human foot.
It's a great foot. He's never looked better.
I should get him on the show at some point. Talk about the whole foot thing.
He's still pretty shy, but if you can get him on, great.
I gotta ask, one of the more infamous interactions between you and Charlie Brown involves you yanking a football away right before he kicks it. And now you're a football, and he's a foot.
Yeah, I see what you're getting at. It's like carcinization.
Pardon me?
Carcinization, how nature keeps turning non-crabs into crabs.
Are you saying the medical procedures you had done on yourself and Charlie Brown are an example of convergent evolution?
In the end, all things are crab, and in the end, Charlie and I are foot in football.
You got a big interest in science.
As a matter of fact, I do. You ever hear of the double slit experiment? Imagine a wall with a single vertical slit. Now imagine a second wall behind that wall. This second wall doesn't have any slits, it's just a wall. Now picture a football covered in mustard. Stadium mustard, great brand, top quality stuff. The football is thrown through the slit and hits the back wall, leaving mustard smeared where it hit. Throw enough balls, you get a whole slit-shaped mustard pattern that matches the slit you tossed them through. Now add another slit, 2 slits. Next, you gotta throw hundreds of footballs at once, all covered in mustard. The footballs that make it through either slit hit each other, bouncing everywhere. At the end of all the chaos, you end up with a football mustard interference pattern. It ain't just 2 slits of mustard, it's a whole mess of mustard because of the bouncing. Now here's where it gets spooky. You throw those mustard balls one at a time and the same thing happens, the same wild pattern at the end. Why? because each mustard-covered football is bouncing off a probability wave of itself. Different potential ways that football could have gone are hitting each other, throwing mustard everywhere and causing the chaos you see on the second wall. That is until old Lucy watches close enough to see which slit each ball goes through. When I do that, the mustard balls behave, the probability wave collapses, and the pattern on the other wall is just 2 slits of mustard. So that's the double slit experiment. Understand?
You know what? I thought I understood, but I don't think I do anymore.
Science is fun.
It's great. Do you consider yourself a science communicator?
I consider myself a football.
Why a football exactly? What was it that drew you to this particular form?
I'll show ya. Come over here and kick me.
I would rather not.
Come on, kick me across the room.
Even if I didn't think you'd pull away at the last moment, making me fall comedically on my back, you are like 8 years old, and I'm not gonna kick an 8-year-old.
I was born in 1950, I'm in my 70s, kick me.
It's not gonna happen. I don't even have feet.
Charlie won't kick me either. Even when I brought him back to life and made him a foot, he just won't do it.
Not everyone is comfortable with acts of violence, even if, consensual.
He always was a loser, that Charlie Brown. He was a loser as a kid, he's a loser as a foot.
Dang, everyone's always so hard on poor Charlie Brown.
It's a hard world. You need to learn hard lessons if you're gonna survive.
Would you say not surviving has been a hard enough lesson for him?
Not hard enough, apparently.
Alright, I'll ask. Lucy, you ever watched Neon Genesis Evangelion?
I don't think so. Why?
The one true moon has been referring to you and Charlie as Asuka and Shinji all show, and I think I get it now.
Is that a religious program?
Kind of.
I'm not so much into religion these days.
Any big plans for the future?
I want to turn Peppermint Patty into an actual Peppermint Patty, but Marcy's blocked my every move.
She is very protective.
Marcy's harder to get past than the Secret Service.
Do you think Peppermint Patty would appreciate being turned into a confection?
It's gotta happen. We all must become our final forms.
You really want to drag the whole Peanuts gang into a post-humanism future, huh?
That's just nature's doing, carcinization and all that. I'm just speeding things along.
Well, it's been great having you on, Lucy.
One last chance to kick me around the room.
I'm still gonna pass.
I'm just not good enough for you, huh? Not even good enough to kick?
Those sorts of tricks don't work on me.
I gotta find someone with a foot. And an open heart.
Stay tuned, everyone. Coming up next is a brand new spooky story from our spooky story correspondent, Relno the Storykeeper.
Hey, you think this Relno would kick me?
Relno is luckily far beyond your reach.
Somebody's gotta kick me, come on.
Oh yes, hello friends. Was just doing a little story keeping. Speaking of which, this is The Watcher and Juan Jose Torres. It was the 1970s, Bolivia, a time of great instability, with various military dictators vying for control through bloodier and bloodier coups. One such coup by Rogelio Miranda lasted only a day before he was replaced by the much more popular Juan Jose Torres. Unfortunately for Torres, he immediately fell into the cold gaze of the Watcher. You see, Torres was part of a new generation of Bolivian military leaders, a socialist who, upon taking power, immediately created a parliamentary People's Assembly made up of teachers, miners, farmers, and the like, with the hopes of shifting the balance of power in the country from the foreign capitalists to the Bolivian working class. The Watcher was greatly displeased by this push for worker power, and Torres's promise to protect Bolivia's natural resources from foreign interests. You see, the Watcher was the CIA. United States President Richard Nixon was very concerned about peasants gaining political power in Bolivia, and so he offered massive financial and intelligence supports to would-be dictator Hugo Banzer. Banzer, using this support, violently ousted Torres and spent the next 7 years ruling Bolivia in a CIA-friendly manner. For instance, he created what was known as the Horror Chambers in the basement of the Ministry of the Interior, which was used to torture thousands of dissidents such as students and nuns. Torres himself had fled to Buenos Aires, where 5 years later he was kidnapped and murdered by agents acting under the command of the CIA as part of Operation Condor. As for the Watcher, no doubt it watches still. Does it watch you? That's all for now. I'm Relno the Story Keeper, reminding you to stay spooky.
I'm afraid I have some unfortunate news that must be shared. Sonic the Hedgehog has apparently been missing for around 2 weeks now. I consider him a friend, and he was just on the show, which is very troubling. If anyone has any information as to the whereabouts of Sonic the Hedgehog, please get in touch. I'd like to end the show today with a tribute song I've written, in hopes for a safe return of our beloved blue friend. We're all thinking of you, Sonic.
He was the fastest little guy this world's ever known. Guide him home. Where did he go? I don't know. No one knows. Let me be clear. Yes, he was here, but then he disappeared, and no one's found a body yet. And it's because he's totally fine, I bet. Sonic, he's still alive. He's the fastest thing alive. He's alive.
I'm sure he's fine.